Hello and welcome guys. So in this video we are going to learn how to model Lego blocks. Let's start with a cylinder with 24 segments, and I'll go in the front view and select these faces, deselect these, move them up slightly, and I'll delete this. Now go back to perspective, go into edge mode, select these edges, and go into top view and extrude them out and give it an offset, give it a thickness of 0.5 or so, and then select these vertices, scale them in Z, select these as well and scale them too, scale these as well. Okay, and now select these and maybe I'll just scale them slightly, even more like these. Now what I will do is I'll select these edges and extrude them again with 0.25 offset, and I'll do the same thing on these edges as well. 0.25, and now we have the top part of our Lego block. So what I will do right now is go into edge mode, select all these edges and extrude them down and see how much. I think we can extrude them up till here. Okay, and now what I'll do is to model inner part. I will select this vertex, convert it to faces by holding Ctrl plus F11, increase the selection, and shift right click and duplicate the faces. Deselect this, and what I will do is invert the normals by going into mesh display and reverse. And we also need to decrease the size, so select all the vertices and go into transform component, select transform component, and then we can change them like this. Now select all the edges, convert them to faces, and then scale it slightly. I'll go into my bottom view to see exactly how much distance do we have from the outer and the inner shell. And now I'll select this, click on extrude, move this up till here and snap it to this edge. So now we have this. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and combine these two and select this edge and select this edge and then bridge them together. And now I need to add one more extrusion over here. So to do that, first of all, I'll select all these edges and scale them slightly. And fix this issue, fix the edge flow a little bit. What we can do is we can connect this and we can work only on the 1/4 of this object. So I'll go ahead and delete this whole area, and now I will also connect these two vertices and delete this half as well. So So now I only need to work on this part. So I go ahead and scale these edge and move it slightly over here and snap it with this vertex. And then now what I can do is snap my pivot to this point and then mirror this over 2x in object and change the direction to positive and change mode threshold to 0.1. And if I press 3, I don't see any issues here. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and delete these faces and select these edges and extrude them and merge these vertices and just bridge these edges together. And now again I'll snap my pivot to this point and then duplicate and rotate them. Hold Shift D to repeat. And now select all of this and combine and go into vertex mode and merge vertices. So now we have one block of Lego. So I'll just duplicate this and hide it so that we have a backup of it. And then what we can do with this is delete these edges, bring them slightly inwards, and select these faces, scale them slightly, and add one more edge over here. So now what we need to do is we need to add a bevel. So if I press 3 on my keyboard, we don't get a proper subdivision. So all we need to do is add some beveling. So select these edges. Now I'll just press 3 to quickly check whether I've selected all the edges. Yes, so now what I'll do is I'll just press Ctrl plus P to bevel and increase the segment to 2. Maybe change it to 0.35. And also add some bevel here. Zero 0.3, and we can add 3 segments instead of 2. So now when I press 3, I get a sharper preview, but we need to fix this. Snap it with the surface, and also we need to fix these faces. So what I will do is I'll just select these faces and scale them so they are flat and we don't see any weird shading. So I'll just snap my pivot to this point and then scale them once and move these up till here, and now we won't see any shading issues. So now let's go ahead and fix the n-cons that we have. Again, go into bottom view and work only on one half. 1/4 that is. So we can connect these vertices together. We can insert an edge loop here and connect this over here. So now we have quad over here, and we can do the same thing over here. Select this and this vertex and connect these, and do the same thing over here. And let's fix the topology on this part. Insert an edge loop here, connect these two, and connect this. So now we don't have any issues here now. So what we can do is just mirror this over in positive x, 0.1 more threshold in negative, I'm sorry, and then we can do the same thing with z. Mirror object, and this time it will be positive and 0.1, and change the axis to z. So now we can add a few more edges here and bevel this. And we can do the same thing on the inside to have some supporting edges. So now we have one block of a Lego. Let's give it a shiny material and see how it looks. I think we need to add one more inset of faces on this side so that we don't see this shading issue. It's not that prominent, but we can definitely fix that by adding one more edge around this. So to do that, what we can do is select the faces by angle. So I'll go to Windows, Modeling Editors, and Modeling Toolkit, and go into Selection Constraint and turn on Angle Constraint and make sure it's 20. So select this, and maybe I need to change the angle a little bit more, 19. I don't want to select this, so I'll just keep reducing my angle until I don't select anything that I don't want. So I think we are good to go now. So I'll just turn off my selection constraint and deselect these and extrude them once, and then give it a small offset. So now what it will do, it will prevent any artifacts. Scale, and now we hopefully don't see any issues. We can also add one more edge here. No, we don't see any now. So this is how we model a Lego block for a 1x1 block. So now we have a Lego block of 1x1. So let's go ahead and model a Lego block of 4x4, and then after that we can model 2x4. So what I'll do is I'll just hide this. So before I hide this, I'll unhide my previous Lego block that I did not bevel. So I will Control Shift H on my keyboard to unhide it and move this one here, and then we can hide this. So now what we need to do is we need to duplicate this, make sure we delete this part, delete these faces. What I will do is I'll just make sure that this is perfectly flat, and I'll also extrude this or vertices and extrude this as well. More vertices. Now what we can do is, again, I'll make a copy of this by pressing Ctrl+D and hide it. Now we have this. Change the pivot to this point and then duplicate it, and then we can snap it to this point. So I will go ahead and combine these two. Change the pivot to this point and then duplicate and snap it to this point. Combine these two again. Select all the vertices and merge vertices. Select all the edges. These as well. And scale them. Select these two. Select all and merge them together. So let's just go ahead and fix topology real quick. And now I'll again work only on this part, and then I can mirror them. 0.1, delete history, mirror them again in Z. 0.1. Alright, so what do we need to do now is we need to insert a cylinder here. So to do that, I'll just copy one of this cylinder and select this vertex and convert to face. Shift right click, duplicate face, change the pivot to center and make sure I align it with this. So this tells me that the cylinder that we have here are not perfectly straight. So let's just scale them in Y. And now we can do the same thing on this one. We can increase the size up till here and extrude it out up till here. And now what I'm going to do is select this and this, and we are going to boolean this with a whole bunch. And now we no longer need this. We can delete the history to get rid of the boolean, and again go to bottom view, and then we are going to work only on 1/4 of it. And let's just fix if we have any issues with the topology. We can snap this to here, and merge these. So I'll just press 3 to check do I have any issues with. So merge these two. So what I will do now is mirror this in object and plus 0.1 merge threshold, and then mirror again in object in Z with 0.1 threshold in positive direction. Delete history. Let's just check by pressing 3. Do we have any obsolete vertices? No. We have a cylinder inside here. So what we can do is press Ctrl plus E and extrude this. Extrude this inwards and extrude this back and snap this with this edge. And extrude it again and merge all of them to center. So now what we need to do is so now select these edges, extrude them up, scale them, select all of these and bridge, and change the material to Lambert. And now what we need to do is we need to add these. So to do that, I'll just delete these faces, select these edges and extrude them up till here. Snap these vertices, merge the vertices and bridge them. Bridge them one at a time. Delete these. And this. So now what we can do is we can add a bevel on this one. And after we have applied a bevel, we can mirror it so that we don't have to add these bevel details again and again. Ctrl plus P, 0.35, add 2 segments. Bevel this. Bevel this as well. 0.35 with 3 segments. Now we can bevel this. Select these faces, extrude, give it an offset. Add a bevel here as well. Now we can mirror this in object 0.1, and we can do the same thing again in Z. And we can add a few holding edges. Select these vertices, press Ctrl F11 to convert them to faces. Extrude them once. We have a 4x4 Lego. So we need to add holding edges here as well. Now let's add a shiny material.